I'm very excited about today's episode because I'm with a beautiful family that I've gotten to know over the last, I would say, months. They've been pregnant and have given birth, and now they've been through the early postnatal stage, the first 6 weeks of baby stage. And they've got so many things that I can share with us that others can learn from. And they've agreed to share the story, even though they're in baby time and sleep is very little and they might be tired and uncomfortable at times. But they've agreed, and I'm super grateful for them. So I'm in their home, and they're going to join me just now. But their names are Sheree and Ricky Stone, and their little boy is Kyro. So they live on a beautiful farm set up in the Eastern Cape in Thornhill on a futurist agri-village place. It's really absolutely beautiful, where people are trying to live a beautiful, sustainable life. Sheree herself is a businesswoman of note and an entrepreneur. If she would probably not tell that about herself, I think, but that is what her husband will remind her about, because she's the most down-to-earth, beautiful woman I know. And she's an absolute animal lover, and has got her own pet lovers market in Jeffreys Bay. Now, Ricky is a qualified attorney, and he runs his own legal consultancy, Stone Conscious Legal Minds. And he is the one that has been more on my case than Sheree himself, because he's the one that want to know everything. So he studied birth more than any man I've ever come across, jokes. But he's definitely in that category. So you're really going to enjoy this couple. They're dynamic, they're lovely, and they're going to be super real with you. And baby's going to be part of the show. So if there's some noises of cries, if baby wakes up, it's real life here. So welcome, everyone. Enjoy this time together, and I'm going to let them come in. Sheree and Ricky, you can come sit next to me here on the couch.
And Kyro.
And Kyro is there too. There we go.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Let's see if you can. We're all in picture here. Beautiful. How are you guys doing?
Great,
Good.
Good. Yeah. I'm so glad that we finally get to do this. We've been talking about wanting to interview you. And maybe you want to just start sharing a little bit how you came across me, why did you find me at first, and how our story started.
Yeah, you want to start?
Okay, I guess I can. So being an avid reader, I guess the natural thing to do was to buy the Pregnancy and Birth magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a bio oil supplement in there. I think most people will know the bio oil range and supplement.
Mm-hmm.
And they said the first thing you should do when you find out you're pregnant is consult with a midwife, which I found quite interesting, because I think the common narrative these days is to consult with a gynecologist or an obstetrician. So that got me thinking that we should look for a midwife. And after asking around, we found out that one of the greatest midwives in this country, certainly, is on our doorstep in Jeffreys Bay, Dr. Magritte, the surfing midwife, and it's been an incredible journey with you.
Oh.
Thank you.
Well, good on bio oil for that one, hey?
Yes.
Have a little bit of bio oil acknowledgement here. Yeah, so I've met you guys when you were pregnant, and you were quite advanced pregnant, and you just needed some advice because you were realizing as a first-time pregnant, going through this experience, that there are quite a few hiccups to face, and that's why you came to me. So you want to share a little bit about that? What is it to be pregnant for the first time, and what were the real challenges?
Well, for me in particular, I found it quite frustrating that the medical system is very pro like cesarean section, and they seem to punt that and early induction. And I think with us initially, we found that we didn't really have anyone else other than you, which we had been consulted with, to sort of use as help and a sounding board that we were doing things the right way, the way that we wanted to, and try to do things as naturally as possible, as opposed to just booking an induction, going in, having a C-section, and like you said, you know, once the first medical intervention comes into play, it normally leads to another and another, and then ultimately there's no nature taking any course, you know.
Right.
So with us, I think in particular, we just felt like the gynae sort of obstetrician fit, or maybe just the one we chose, not that there's anything wrong with that person in particular, but it just wasn't the right fit for us at the time, and we just needed some natural, more holistic guidance, and I think that's what we got from you.
Right. Yeah, and I also recall that it was definitely not easy to continue with believing in the natural approach. I think sometimes people have the perception that a natural approach is for all our natural mommies, and they're so into it. And I found for you it was really something you had to be encouraged in, and that it is normal, and the way you handled it, I think, is something that a lot of women can relate to. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
In particular, what, just like the whole...
To wait it out and to be aware of the medical system.
Yeah, it wasn't easy because, you know, obviously it feels like you if you listen to the medical side on one side and you listen to the way things naturally occur and how they should happen on the other side, you can feel a little bit torn. Because you're just not sure if you can trust your body in that way or that much.
Mm-hmm.
But we did wait, we waited. Kyro was due on the 21st of December, and we waited until the 1st of January to be induced. So we did try and give ourselves the best chance at a natural birth and for things to happen naturally,
yes.
Which in our case, unfortunately, it didn't. Because after the induction, then it was... the oxytocin, and then eventually an epidural, and then emergency C-section.
So you had everything.
After being in labor for like a whole day.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And how did you experience that time, Ricky?
Yeah, look, I would say it was challenging for me, particularly perhaps because I've got a legal training and I'm used to, I guess, fighting for people who have their rights trampled on.
Mm-hmm.
So to encounter this over-medicalized viewpoint of approaching pregnancy, like I was quite shocked by it. So you literally have gynecologists that I thought were stripping a woman of her own rights and powers to make her own choices, I think the estimated due date is called an EDD for a reason, but then you have a gynecologist at 40 weeks telling you that no, you need to now sign this form they're not going to take any responsibility if you go overdue. So, I mean, that was
it was like
quite
2 weeks after that, though.
Yes, but still, I mean, that's not encouraging you to trust nature and to trust your own instincts. So it was definitely challenging, and I think it was fantastic to just have you as a sounding board. And then, of course, 1 or 2 other books that I had read that really did give me the power to empower my own wife and give it the best shot at having a natural birth.
Yeah, well done on that. I think that is really amazing that you also empowered yourself and that you could be that person for Sheree. And because you're in it together, I think it can be quite a challenge for the partner if they can also really get fearful about it all and listen to the doctors and then, not empower their wives or their partners to wait it out and do the natural thing. So well done on that. I found that pretty impressive.
Thank you.
That's great. 10 out of 10 for that. Yeah, and then we waited it out and you guys were very patient. Well done. And it was difficult to tell the whole world that you're still pregnant all the time because everyone was waiting for baby to come out, and it was Christmas happening, no Christmas present, baby still inside, and you waited properly. Was that tough?
It was, yeah. I kind of got very used to being pregnant. Kind of felt like something was missing once you arrived because it's been so long, like that, or in that state. But it was a bit challenging. You get quite uncomfortable. I was one of the unlucky ones. Well, it was all my fault. I gained a lot of weight during pregnancy. But it's one of those things. And I think when baby does arrive and things aren't that sort of honeymoony and easy like some people maybe make it out to be, you kind of think, we could go back. I wouldn't mind being pregnant for a little bit longer to prepare myself.
Right.
And I just don't think you can prepare yourself, for what is motherhood, especially in the very beginning.
Sure, that's a good thing. We're going to park that one. I want you to talk more about that. But first, let's go back to your birth. So then you did mention already that you waited it out, and nature didn't do its thing that you were hoping for. And then you had an induction, and then that's why we have inductions, right? We're happy that that's a possibility. That's when it comes into play, when it's the right thing. But how did you experience all of that? Were you disappointed, or how did you experience your birth and how it all unfolded?
Well, I found it to be very emotional. Like, I don't know if it was the hormones from the induction or what it was, but I found myself very emotional during that period. Yeah, I can say to a degree I was disappointed that I didn't have a natural birth, but I'm also grateful that we live in a time that, an emergency C-section is there for a reason, and if I was one of the reasons that an emergency C-section exists, then I'm happy for it, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
Good
I think
approach.
I was, just so tired at the end, like, of the whole labor and the pain and the, like the frequency of the contractions. It was just hectic, and I think if I wasn't maybe as tired as I was, it might have been I would have felt maybe a bit differently towards just saying, just bring the epidural or whatever, because you're exhausted at the end of it. So, I guess I can say I was disappointed that I didn't get what I ultimately would have preferred, but I'm also grateful that my baby was born healthy and no problems, because there was that medical intervention or whatever at the time for me in my case in particular,
Yeah, I think it's a real good approach that you have on that, because when you go into birth, it's best to have an open mind about it, so you don't know how this path is going to go for us, but it is key that you have that our first way should be the all natural way. Even though you might think, what was the purpose of it? There were so many benefits for little Kyro, for waiting it out, so many developments that has happened, for him to have been through labor and have all that pressure. There's so much value, extra value to that women sometimes don't know. It is really, really important. So it's all has benefited Kyro, and I'm sure yourself as well. How did you find it, watching and waiting and then seeing it unfold like this?
Watching, I'd like to say I helped a lot more.
You helped?
Yeah, the midwife told the gynecologist that Ricky can be a doula for hire.
Good to
I've
know.
massaged Sheree through every single contraction while trying to read a non-pregnancy book in between the contractions.
I know that.
So no, it was an epic experience, to be with my wife, going through labor, to just see another side of a woman. It really was incredible. I mean, Sheree's an incredibly strong woman. She didn't take any pharmaceutical drugs and went all the way till 8 centimeters dilated before even opting for the epidural. So I think it was also great that we had prepared for how a induction might go down and the various options you have. So to not have gone with the epidural right away, because when that epidural did come at 8 centimeters, my heart unfortunately sank because the contraction stopped. Sheree fell asleep. But at the end of the day, we soldiered on, I guess, as best we could. And the most important thing is we got a happy and healthy little boy who came out looking more like a baby than a little creature, premature. So we're very happy.
Yeah. Wow, but well done, because you have had it, haven't had the easy one. You've had all the pain before the time, and then you also had to go through surgery. How did you experience the recovery, and how did that go for you?
The recovery, not so bad. I just found it was like a shocking experience, like being a new mother, like not being able to like prepare myself mentally for now being responsible, and this, I don't know, like an automatically or instant mother, you don't, it's no turning back type of thing. And with the new policies that the hospitals have, with regards to COVID, you alone, your husband or your partner or whoever is not allowed to be there with you. And I think that is quite a shock to your system. you have your husband with you 1 minute, and you know, you in this state of like, I don't know, I felt like I was numb from my neck down. You know, you catheterized, you're in this bed, and then you've got this baby, and then your husband must leave.
Yeah.
So like, to me that was just not an ideal situation. I think that hospitals should maybe, I mean, especially if your significant other is negative for COVID, I think for the mental, I don't know, sort of benefit of the mother, let someone be there that she knows and trusts to help her for the first day or two, you know, before you go home. I think that was also, that worked against me, like, and I think it does for most people, because like you've undergone like major abdominal surgery. In the case of a C-section, obviously natural birth, you get to go home, but in my case it wasn't as easy as, or it could have just been a little bit easier if I had that support.
For sure. So you had a bit of a rocky start then. Did you find
also,
that?
I think just not knowing, not having a cooking clue, you know, like so many people that I've spoken to, they prepare for the birth, they prepare for pregnancy, they know so much about those things, but no matter how many books you read, no matter how many things you listen to, including people or apps or whatever, nothing can prepare you, I think, for what is motherhood. And it's just instant like that, you know. Here you go, there's the baby,
there you go, now you do it. Yes.
And it's crying. Well, I don't know, I have had the experience of having a child that didn't really like sleep in the very early stages.
I don't think you're the only one.
You kind of expect that they'll sleep a lot. Because
sleep like a baby.
Yeah.
Whatever that
doesn't
is.
exist. But it didn't in my case. But
so you found that was quite a real reality check for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Having baby in your arms.
Yeah. And then you're like, kind of just like, I don't know, to me the whole motherly instincts and stuff took a long time to sort of kick in. It wasn't this instant, I know everything, I understand this person, he understands me, this is just this most beautiful experience, it's all sunshine and rainbows.
All cloud nine. No,
not for me. To me it was like an experience that was very hectic in the beginning, very like shell-shocking initially, but I found that as each day passes, I fall in love with him more and more. I get to know him more and more. It's like how all relationships start. You know, you get to know each other first. You know, it's not just, for me, it wasn't that instant, everything works type of experience.
Yeah, I think that's really good to know for anyone that's expecting and for the first time pregnant. That this can be quite a real reality check, and that is nothing wrong with having those feelings, and it's really valuable that you say that. Thank you for being real and honest in that regard. And there's nothing wrong with you guys. I mean, I know how much you've fallen in love with your baby, but it is super real that it can be extremely intense in the beginning.
Yeah, very much so. Well, that was my experience. Yeah. Some people, it just seems to be easy and natural and happy-go-lucky type of thing. But I don't think everyone has that experience.
No, for sure. And how was it for you?
Challenging.
Right.
But fortunately, we new fathers in South Africa can take 10 days paternity leave. So I switched off all my devices, put them aside to focus on the new mom, a new baby in the house. And again, bought a good book to guide me on that journey, The Essential Art of Nourishing a New Mother, which I would encourage anybody to buy. And how important that postpartum period is, the first 40 days. So that book got me leaning on some ancient Chinese wisdom of how important it is to eat warm and healing food. So I was cooking bone broths every day and feeding my wife bone broth so much this morning. She didn't want any bone broth.
I did want to, I just didn't have time to drink it.
So yeah, I'd highly encourage bone broth. It was great to have a dishwasher, that helps. But yeah, it was challenging figuring it out, and again the Sister Lillian blog and resource center gave a lot of very honest and real advice, you know. I mean, if you just Google how to breastfeed, this one article will tell you the other. So right from the beginning, if I wanted to know anything, I would go to the Sister Lillian Center website, and then they break it down very simply, you know. This is how you should breastfeed. and these are the important cues to look around for a newborn baby. And yeah, I just took it day by day. Hey, I even came up with a thing, 1,000 little pieces on how important, say, the first 3 years, the early childhood development is.
Yeah.
And we'll just take it day by day and put in one puzzle piece a day.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And not even look any forward than that. Just really treat it in the moment and try be as present as possible.
Oh, wow. Well, listen, guys, are there? Are you seeing them? I didn't ask him to share about Sister Lillian Center. Honestly, from the beginning, Ricky was just always referring back to the Sister Lillian Center and all the resources. So we just salute again Sister Lillian for all her hard work she's done over all the years, because it really is advice you can trust. So I want to encourage you to look out on our website, go into those resources. It's simple, but it is practical. It's not a whole, it's quick and easy. There's so many resources out there. So thank you for throwing that in. And we will also put the book that he referred to in the show notes. So it's always good to have those resources and tips of real good reads and good books. So thank you for that, Ricky. I'm going to show you guys back there. And let's see, little man is waking up. Isn't he gorgeous? Aww. Yeah, he's 7.5 weeks out today, and Mom is breastfeeding away. How did the breastfeeding journey go for you?
Not natural and instinctive at all either, but he did, when we did consult with a breastfeeding consultant, and he was 400 grams. How much was he above what he should have been at the time? So he was definitely getting enough milk, even though I was worried he wasn't. And also worrying about the quality of my milk. But yeah, now it's getting easier with that as well. Definitely happy that, pushed through with the breastfeeding. I think it's, like a lot of people say, it's liquid gold, and I think babies, it's what they're supposed to get.
Yeah.
So if you can, definitely opt for the breastfeeding.
Yes. But again, a good lesson to take home for everyone listening is that it doesn't necessarily have to be easy for you to have to make it a success. So it can be a difficult start, but doesn't mean that you could not be able to breastfeed.
Yes.
So it's pushing through. I think especially the first 2 weeks was tough on you, right? And that is that we hear often, but then it gets easier.
Yes. No, definitely. Every day it gets a little bit easier. That's all I can say about our experience. Yeah. And also that's the generalization about newborns and just babies.
Yeah. Take it day by day.
Yeah, definitely.
Well done. I mean, he's the happiest little guy. So content. Yeah.
He knows the camera's on, that's why.
He knows, exactly. He's just performing well now. Just now when I'm gone, it's going to be a different story, yeah.
Got him on silent mode.
Yeah, exactly. What do you want to say? You want to say, well done, Mom and Dad? Yes.
It is a smile.
You did so well. Aww. Do you want to share a little bit about your sleep experience? Because that's another real thing.
Yeah. Initially we went according to an app.
Yes.
And also when the day we were discharged from the hospital, his blood sugar was a bit low. So that scared us quite a lot. And we were trying to do and trust ourselves and do the best that we could at the time. But then we were also told that we should give him top-ups of formula on top of, was it every second or third feed? I wasn't sure. I can't remember. But yeah, we should have maybe I should have trusted myself a bit more and my body's ability to produce milk. But when you're dealing with a low blood sugar, obviously, you're a bit more nervous about not maybe taking medical advice type of thing. Oh, that wasn't me. That was it.
It's okay.
But what was I going to say now about
the sleep in the beginning?
Yeah, the sleep. Yeah, I think every 2 hours we were waking up, or even less, to make sure that he was eating because of the blood sugar level. So for us, it was also a bit complicated. In the day, much like now, he doesn't really like sleep during the day. So that's a rare occurrence, and when he does sleep during the day, I do take advantage of that.
Good.
But yeah, our nighttime sleeps have stretched. He'll go down about 8, 8:30, and sleep until about your 2:30, 3 in the morning. So we're quite lucky. Our pediatrician says very, very lucky.
Very lucky, yeah.
But
yeah, it can be quite conflicting when you are in a hospital and you've had a surgery, so then it's also a bit more challenging to get into good position with breastfeeding. So the rocky start is real then too with breastfeeding, and getting into good routines and trusting the natural occurrence there too, hey?
No,
Yeah, because you can start focusing on monitors, on blood sugar, on apps,
timing, everything.
Yeah, no. So you've learned your lesson there to right. You've gotten it right to just getting to know him and go with the flow more.
I think all the apps and the Googling and the books and stuff, even though they have their place, I feel that they maybe overshadow the natural occurrence of, like how things would flow. You know what I mean? Between you and him getting to know each other, or your little girl or whatever, your baby. Getting to know their cues, getting to know, just everything about them each step or one day at a time. But when you're looking at an app constantly and you're timing the time between the feeds and how long he slept in between it's more tiring than anything else.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And it steals away from those little moments. I find I'm enjoying breastfeeding more now that I actually spend the time looking at him and playing with his little fingers and rubbing his head. In the past, it was checking the time. Ricky, did you press the time on the phone? No. You don't really, you steal moments away from yourself, I found.
Very valuable. You hear that? And Ricky, you are the one that likes to study and to have it all a bit more figured out. How did you approach the postnatal days?
Yeah, well, I definitely read quite a bit. Look, I was shocked, because you would expect at the hospital in the neonatal section that they would at the very least teach a woman how to breastfeed, which wasn't the case. They kind of just, I won't say throw, but put the baby on the boob. Don't explain that it's all reflexive and how the reflexes work and what you should look out for. So I try to read a bit less and be more present and just be there for mom and baby. But it's been incredible to watch. Say the first week was challenging, the second week a little bit less challenging, but after that, as Sheree got to know Kyro more and more each day, to just even see how, aside from breast milk being liquid gold and so good for baby, I think how important it actually is to the bond between mom and baby. So Sheree mentioned touching his fingers and playing with the hair. So I mean, there were many days where I could just look at them together and break into tears, because it really is something special to be a part of.
To observe, yeah. Wow. What a journey you had.
Yeah,
and you still have.
It's been fun.
Hey?
It's been fun every day.
Incredible. It's worth it, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, COVID.
Yeah.
For keeping me at home.
Okay, so you want to throw in some good things of COVID. We've had enough negative things, so tell me some of how it worked for you.
At the stage, pre-COVID, I had actually relocated to Cape Town to work. I was going to be working there. Sheree was looking to move up in, say, May or June of last year. I could see the writing was on the wall, so mid-March I got the first plane I could out of COVID, or out of Cape Town, knowing that we could go into a hard lockdown. I packed enough clothing for probably only 2 weeks. Little did we know we would still be locked down to a degree. And then yes, as the blessed universe would have it, during, I think it was even the first weekend of the hard lockdown, we conceived, and the rest is history. So back in the Eastern Cape, back at beautiful Crossways.
Wow.
Which is really an incredible place to raise a child, very much, I think, similar to how Sheree and I were both raised. Both come from a small town, King Williamstown, which is close to East London, where you can roam the streets and walk around freely. Now we can at Crossways. So it's great to be back home and to have our own little family now.
Oh.
So much to look forward to.
Well done. Congrats, hey?
Thank
That's
you.
amazing.
Thank you, boy.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your story with really the world. We never know who watches, you know. But it's just really valuable. I know someone is going to appreciate something that you've said and have an aha moment down the line. So keep sharing those stories. Is there one last tips or advice that you would like to, that you still have burning here? Or you felt you've said everything?
Don't put pressure on yourself.
Don't put pressure on yourself. Okay, that's a good one.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, very good.
And you?
I would say to all the fathers out there, or expectant fathers, don't put pressure on your wife. If you think the hormones during pregnancy are crazy, wait till after childbirth. So I'd encourage you to be very mindful of what your wife is going through, and what mom, she's no longer only a wife anymore, she's now a mother. Give her that space and just really be there and support her as best you can. Cook bone broths, they help nourish the mom. And yes, I could only just say support your new mother in the house and baby. And dads must definitely change nappies, it's important. Not everyone, but it's really not that bad, eh?
It's not that bad.
Yeah, we got 2 French bulldogs, and I mean, they just cleaning up after them is worse than a child.
So maybe get some dogs before you get a baby.
Yeah, definitely.
realize-
That was particularly French bulldogs. I mean, they're so needy. I think they definitely prepared us well for parenthood.
Yeah, but changing nappies is, you create a bond with your boy, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
no, certainly. And it was nice to see him now after 6 weeks or so, starting to smile.
Yes.
And how he realizes, I think, that his smile makes us smile. So you see him smiling more and more.
Interaction.
Yeah, it's really a special time of our lives.
Wow. It really is. Don't wish it away. Enjoy it. Yeah. Every day.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
Thank
wanna
you very much.
Tune in here. It's a beautiful family. That was us for today. I hope you enjoyed that. And I just lastly want to thank Baby City for making it possible, that they're always solid behind Sister Lillian Center. They are our preferred baby store. We thank you for making all these things possible. All the best. You've had lots of loves and hearts and thumbs up. Thank you guys for interacting with us. It really means a lot. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
And the dog.